Welcome to From Chaos to Cosmos. I'm Christy, your guide in helping you to find your own personal, perfect cosmic order. This is your tarotscope reading for the Leo solar eclipse. Fear not about the unexpected chaos that eclipse season can bring, because I am here to help guide you into co-creating with the cosmos. So the Leo solar eclipse is occurring on August 12 at 6:36 or 6:37-ish. This is British summertime, so of course you can switch it up depending on where you are in the world if you want to know when this solar eclipse is exact. So eclipses can be pretty feared in the astrology space, although they don't really have to be, in my opinion. I kind of see the eclipses as, yes, maybe bringing in things that are out of my control and helping me to release things in my life. During eclipses, a lot of things might fall away, events might kind of happen that do make you feel like you don't have as much control of your life as you once did. But I like to think of these events as fated events, things that are supposed to happen for your soul's evolution, and things that are supposed to fall away so that new things can come on into your life. And this honestly will happen to varying degrees. Sure, for some of us it might be these big, massive themes and big, huge changes in our life. But for a lot of us, it is just going to be small day-to-day things or small interruptions in the way that your life typically goes or the way that you thought things would go. Again, all for this kind of idea that the cosmos is here guiding you. So if you are not on the path that you're supposed to be on, the cosmos during this time is going to then step in and make these changes for you. I like to think of eclipses as a time to relinquish all control. Basically, your job here is to kind of go with the flow and see what the cosmos delivers up for you. Now, that doesn't mean that we just stand idly by and just let whatever happen in our life, because as astrologers or as people who work alongside the cosmos, we are able to look into the areas of life where this eclipse is most likely to impact us. We can kind of take stock of those areas of life and either expect change to happen in those areas or make change happen in a way that we kind of already on some level know that needs to happen. So as I'm filming this right now, it is August 9th and I can already feel the eclipse energy building up. So what happened for me today, I feel like was very eclipse-esque. It wasn't something grand and life-changing and wow, this is like the craziest eclipse story ever. But I feel like it still does show how fate and things that are supposed to happen can come through in very small ways. So I was not intending on filming this video today. Actually, less than an hour ago, I was on my way out the door to go to work. And literally, as I was about to leave the house, a fucking flood happened in my house. So essentially, I had to phone my work, be like, I'm so sorry that this is last minute. I'm supposed to be starting in like 45 minutes time, and I have to fucking stay in the house because I have to deal with this random emergency that's happened. And at first I did feel really flustered and I did feel really stressed. I am not typically somebody who copes well with sudden changes like that. If I have a plan for the day and I kind of know what the day entails for me and I know what's coming and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go to work, blah, 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 and something kind of shifts and changes at the last minute. Typically, I am not someone who adapts all that well with that. But I kind of says to myself, you know what? Instead of freaking out, instead of spiraling in this situation, What is this moment trying to tell you? What is the cosmos doing to step in and tell you why you can't go to work today, why you have to stay in the house? What is the reason for this? And then I thought to myself, I really wanted to film a tarotscopes video, but I didn't think that I was going to have time to get one up before the eclipse happened. I had been feeling that I was really called to do a tarot reading for you based on the current astrology, giving you guidance on how you can get through eclipse season in the kind of most seamless way possible. But I wasn't going to have time to do that because essentially I'm working the next 4 days, and by then the eclipse would be over, and I felt like there was probably no point in doing a reading once the eclipse had already happened. Then this random event happens where there's a flood in my house. I'm not able to go to work because I have to stay in and deal with this. That I now, because I'm like in the house anyway, I actually get to film this video, whereas I could have just stressed out about the whole thing and been like, oh, like, what a shit day, like, life is so unfair. And there was a moment of that, there was a slight panic, but now I'm like, okay, I feel like with the eclipse coming up, what that can teach me is that this must be happening for a reason. And for me personally, I am a Sagittarius rising, so this eclipse is happening in my 9th house. The 9th house is the house of spirituality, higher education, mentors, teaching, all of that stuff. And I just felt like that made such complete sense. It is also like long distance travel and stuff like that as well. But for me in my life, I always notice like the 9th house showing up as like my work that I do here, my tarot readings, my yoga, my connection to spirituality, the way that I love to like teach these things. And I was like, oh, it's actually so kind of perfect in a way that the universe has like stepped in and made this happen, so that like this eclipse that's going to be happening in my 9th house, it stepped in, it did change for me that was like, I guess like a negative, a bad change, but there is some kind of like positive that comes out of it. Anyway, that's just my little anecdotal tale. I wonder if more eclipse themes will come up in my life. So the way this video works is I'm going to do a tarot reading for each rising sign, starting with Aries, ending with Pisces. And in this reading, I'm going to tell you where this eclipse is happening for you based on the whole sign houses astrology system. If you use Placidus, you might not want to look at your rising sign because it might like fall into like a slightly different house. So instead you're going to go and look at the house that it falls in. And for this you want to look for where you have 20 degrees of Leo in your chart. So you go to the symbol of Leo, and then in an anti-clockwise motion you find 5, 10, 15, 20 degrees of Leo and look at the slice of pie that correlates with. The little number in the centre there is the number of house that you're going to be looking at. If you're using whole sign houses, you can just go straight to what your rising sign is and I will tell you what house that falls in for you. I feel like my lips look so strange right now, so before I get into the readings, I'm going to go and do something and put something on my lips because this is feeling weird. Okay, I feel like that's slightly better. I keep trying to get on the peel off like lip stain hype, and you know what, I just actually don't think it's for me because every time I use it I'm like, this is rancid. Are other people lying, or does it just not work for me? Because on other people it looks really good, but on me I'm like, I don't know what it is, it always looks weird. Anyway, okay, so if you are an Aries rising or this eclipse is happening in your 5th house, that's 3, not 5. If this is happening in your 5th house, the areas of your life that this is likely to impact most is creativity, hobbies, pleasure, relationships, but more like flirtation relationships or like unserious relationships. Maybe just like somebody that you're like dating or you're in like a situationship with. Things might change around that. That means it might fall away, it might get more serious. Relationships with children, creation, creativity, passions, pleasure, sex, all of that. So let's get a little bit of guidance for your 5th house for this Leo solar eclipse. Okay, so you have the 7 of Pentacles coming up for you. If there's something in your life, maybe specifically something that you were originally drawn to for the joy of it or for the pleasure of it, again, this could be like a hobby or a creative endeavour or something, but you kind of feel like you've been almost like lost in it, where you've forgot that you got into it for the pleasure of it and that kind of like spark of passion that it gave you, and you're more kind of now in that energy of like, okay, what am I getting out of this? What am I like expecting from this? Where is this going? So again, if this is like a creative endeavour and like, you know, today's world, like everybody wants to make like their hobby like a business. Maybe you like really got into painting because like you loved it so much, but then you were like, okay, what is this doing for me? It's not bringing in any money. Or maybe you got into like a relationship with someone and like the beginning parts of this was like really fun and really flirty and you were just enjoying spending time with them, but now you're kind of like getting in your own head and you're like, okay, what are we? What is actually going on here? And you're like putting a lot of pressure on it. I feel like your message here is to just let things unfold as they're going to unfold. So I'm sensing that there's a real ask here for you to just be kind of like enjoying the physical pleasures of things. Just be enjoying the moments that you're in for what they are instead of what they might become, because what they're going to become is going to unfold for you throughout eclipse season and naturally throughout life anyway. Whatever will be in these areas, and all you're being called to do right now is to really focus on the enjoyment that these things are bringing to you. And then because the eclipse is of course a time of releasing so that we can plant new seeds, it might be a time for you as well to kind of focus on the things that did once bring creative sparks and pleasure and joy and all of that stuff, and notice the things that are no longer doing that to you anymore. They're no longer giving you that feeling, and it might be time for you to focus on releasing and letting go of these things. So like maybe you did start painting because initially like you fucking loved it, but now you're like, actually I can't stand painting anymore, but now I'm doing it and I'm in the same rut of doing it over and over and over again because this is just what I do. Maybe it's time to release it and you do like drawing instead or something. Maybe you got into a relationship because in the beginning it was giving you loads of joy and loads of passion, and actually the anxiety that you have about, oh my god, like what are we, is not something that you need to like relax and let go of. It's not something that you just need to like relax into and see what will happen. Maybe there's some areas there where you actually have to go, you know, like, this was bringing me a lot of joy. Is it bringing me joy now? If the answer is yes, maybe you keep going with that and you keep nurturing that relationship. If the answer is actually no, like the more I've got to know you, the more I actually really don't fucking like you, or you're just giving me all this anxiety, you're just giving me all this stress, I'm not actually getting a lot of enjoyment and a lot of fulfillment out of this, it might be time to think about letting that go. This is for Taurus rising or for the 4th house of your birth chart. So your 4th house is the house of family, your home, of nurturing, of taking care of things, even things linked to like safety, the past, nostalgia. It's really like your roots, like where you've came from and where you've settled into. And for you, you have temperance here. The first thought that I got here is that you're being really asked to do like some sort of spiritual audit and spiritual cleanse of your home and family environment. So this could look like physically clearing out your home, physically clearing out clutter, shit you no longer need, stuff that you want to release. but with like a kind of spiritual element to it. So you can clear out the old with the intention of inviting something new in, almost like you're spiritually creating space, but also like doing that with your home. I would think about doing this on like a bigger scale as well, so kind of taking into account your home and your family life and the idea of like roots. So not just roots physically where you are now, but roots going back through your entire lineage. That seems a little bit intense to be like, yes, take on the burden of like your entire family lineage. It really doesn't have to be that intense. It could just be thinking about the things that have maybe been passed down to you through your familial ties and the things that has been passed down to you through your ancestors. So this can be really good things, maybe like you've got like your grandmother's nose, or there's something that you really like love about your personality, or like randomly the older I get, the more I'm like, why am I turning into my fucking gran? Like some things that I say, I'm honestly like, that's mental. I am literally an 85-year-old woman. How and when did this happen? But it's actually a really beautiful moment, because you almost remember that these people, they kind of like live on in you in a way, in the good ways and in the bad ways as well. And temperance, right? Temperance is like the alchemizer, like it blends things together and learns to create something that is beneficial in the moment and on the bigger scale. So this can be like taking really beneficial things and taking really not beneficial things and thinking about blending them together, drawing them into yourself and how you can move forward through that. So the idea of that throughout the eclipse season could be going, okay, I think it's really, really wonderful that I have my grandmother's nose, but I really, really don't like how I inherited this particular trait from this person. Two things can coexist at once. I can really love my family for these reasons, and I can really feel a certain frustration in these other reasons. And the way that you kind of learn to like alchemize that and go, okay, this is the cards that's been dealt to me, this is what I've been handed down throughout my family, like from like my ancestors and stuff. How do I move forward with it? What parts of that do I want to carry on with me, so that then I can pass that on down to my children or whatever, if you don't want kids, just so that you can like leave it out there into the world. Like, what am I leaving there for the world, because I think that's really beautiful things that's been passed down to me ancestrally? Or what parts of that am I like, fuck no, like this fucking ends with me, like this like toxic trait that maybe I've noticed in myself that I've got from other people, this ends now, and this is like, I am using this now to create change. And this is where the alchemy comes in. Again, this seems pretty intense. It might not be on this scale for everyone, of course. It could just be literally as simple as clearing out your house. But I am sensing here that there's like a deeper asking of clearing out your home, but also clearing out things within yourself and like things within like the roots of you. Okay, for my Gemini or third house people, so your third house is the place of communication, it's extended family, like siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles, even like neighbours and stuff like that. With that communication element, this can also be like communication to other realms, communication in general. It's also thought to be the house of the goddess as well, so the kind of divine feminine energy. You have the Four of Cups. This eclipse season for you might be a moment of pause and reflection. There might be something right now in the areas of your life that we spoke about that you maybe don't want to disengage from, but that you are maybe taking like a step back and taking a moment for yourself. That could be it for some of you. For some of you, it might also be thinking about and reflecting on the areas in which your cup is so full and so overflowing that you can start to give back to your local community. So yeah, that's kind of the message that I'm getting, is that for some of you, it might be time to kind of pause and reflect and go inward and kind of focus on yourself. And there's that kind of idea of going, okay, I don't want to take anything else on right now. I just want to kind of go in on myself and be with myself and focus on myself. And it could be that kind of like internal communication with either you or your higher self or your ancestors and stuff like that. And then for other people, it could also be that this could be a time of giving back to your community, giving back to your family, realising the areas in which you are abundant and you are overflowing and you do have an excess of something where you could potentially give that back to others in this time. This could even be like donating your time and your energy towards something, maybe like a charity, or maybe like a family member's like moving house and you really can't be bothered helping them, but you're like, okay, like I actually do have the day off, I probably could help you. I feel like there's also a message here that I would say like your spirit team, depends on what you believe, either like your spirit team or if you work with deities or just the universe in general. Sorry, I don't know why my throat is so dry. Might be offering you something right now, and you might be in deep contemplation in whether to take it or not. There might be an opportunity that arises here that maybe you something might come up kind of unexpected. It might even have the idea of being like too good to be true, and you're not really quite sure whether you want to take this opportunity or not. I'm not here to tell you either way. Again, that's where I think that kind of communication with yourself comes in. Or like if you do have like a connection to like spirits, deities, ancestors, that kind of thing, like reaching out and doing maybe even like some divination and stuff with them. Like the third house can really also be about divination and receiving guidance and communication from all aspects. It's quite a spiritual house. But yeah, much to ponder. I feel like a few different messages came through, so maybe some of that will resonate with all of you, and maybe only one part of it will resonate with you. As always with these kind of group collective readings, it's not going to be specifically targeted to you, even though it's as targeted as these can get, speaking about like the house and sign that it's going to be occupying in your life. If you do want like a more in-depth personalised reading, of course I do them. If you are a Cancer rising, or this eclipse is happening in your second house, this is happening in the house of resources, money, like physical things, physical comforts. This house is also so much more than just the physical. It is the things that we are able to physically manifest, because it's the things that our self-worth tells us that we are able to manifest. So this is also like our relationship to money, how we are able to keep our money if we think we are worthy of nice things, how we are able to comfortably sit in pleasure. And for you, we have the Seven of Cups. I feel like this card is a true eclipse season card, and this truly is your reminder to go with the flow. I feel like if there's any kind of message here, it's like this eclipse season could bring a variety of different things to you. Some good things, some bad things, some things that on the surface seem like they're not great, but ultimately if you're able to kind of work with them and stay in that state of going with the flow, everything is going to be fine for you. things might feel a little bit rocky and a little bit shaky in some parts, especially when you don't quite know what's coming up next. Again, for everyone, this is going to be to varying degrees. Not everybody's life is going to be like, wow, fucking crazy and mental, and there's a fucking dragon coming out of this cup and a snake coming out of this cup. Like, it really doesn't have to be all that intense, okay? Like, with this happening in like your finances and resources kind of thing, it might be like you're potentially going to get your hours cut at work, but then actually you don't. And then maybe you're kind of like, okay, I actually want to try and a little bit take the element of surprise out of this, so I can see like, this eclipse is hitting my second house. I already know that I feel really rocky and really shaky with money. So to gain a little bit more security, I am going to put a strict finance plan in place for myself. It can literally be something like that. This card also could be looking at your deep-rooted internal beliefs in a way. And the way, again, kind of like I said, the way that you look at money and you look at pleasure and that you look at your ability to manifest and grow. If you kind of have a mindset of, oh, this is what I dream for myself, this is what my ideal, like, secure, financially stable, ultimately comfortable version of me looks like, but deep inside you kind of feel like there's part of you that doesn't deserve that. Again, this could be like a subconscious belief. It doesn't have to be something that's staring you in the face. This card could also be your reminder of like the multitudes that we all contain. So if you ever feel like you kind of get down on yourself a little bit, or there's parts of you that you feel like are undeserving for some things, it could be a really good moment for you to actually kind of maybe either like write a list or ponder on all the reasons that you actually do deserve to have a good life, and really work on like boosting your self-esteem during this time, rather than trying to control everything in the physical world. Like I said, if there is something physically that you know that you kind of need to release and you need to let go, you can kind of do that along with the eclipse, and you will be really, really supported in this. If it is something that you already know that you're being called to release in your life. But it doesn't always have to be a physical thing. It can be a certain belief that you have as well, that you're being really called in this moment to release and let go of. Leo risings, or those with 20 degrees of Leo in their first house. Well, this is all about you. So this is hitting your identity, your persona, your physical appearance, your ego. It's kind of like everything of who you are and how you show up in this world. It's like the person that you are as you move through this earthly plane. Whoa. So you have the Hanged Man showing up here. So what I'm sensing right away is, if you're having any kind of identity crisis right now, if you're kind of in the midst of who the fuck am I, what the fuck am I doing, like I hate my hair, I hate my body, it's probably not the time to make any crazy changes right now. It might be the time to just reflect and ponder on those things. Maybe you don't go and get a drastic haircut, or you don't go and get anything too drastic done to yourself. Maybe you don't have an entire personality overhaul overnight, even if sometimes, like, you know how like when you get the energy that I'm getting is, you know how like when you get in like those states when it's like randomly like midnight and you're like, fuck this, I'm gonna like cut a fringe, and like when I wake up tomorrow I'm gonna be like this person, I'm gonna be like entirely different from who I was today and who I have been my whole life. I'm sensing like, don't do that. I'm sensing take a little moment to kind of ponder and reflect. That is not to say that you cannot change and you cannot release. After all, the eclipse is all about releasing and letting go so that we can plant seeds for things that we wish to grow in the future, so that we can make space for that. So instead of making all these like external changes, I feel like your kind of message here is to like go internally and almost kind of ponder on who you truly are, who the core essence of you is, who are you in your heart, who are you in your soul, what parts of you deep within you are not actually serving you, and you think that yes, maybe you could benefit from releasing, but maybe a drastic overhaul of, oh my god, I fucking hate this part of myself, I'm no longer going to be like that, is less beneficial than change from a place of true connection. It's kind of the idea of, you can have an ideal version of yourself and know that there's things that you need to cut out, and you know that there's things that you need to add in to reach that version of you, but you're going to love yourself every single step of the way until you get to that version. So if you're here now and you want to be here, like, that's absolutely fine. Like, you can cut things out, you can add things in, and do everything that you can to get to like the highest version of yourself, or whatever it is that you think. But how are you moving along the way? Are you making like drastic sudden changes, trying to take shortcuts and thinking, oh, if I do this one thing and I'm just never like this anymore, and I'm just perfect and I look this way and I act this way, then that's going to put me, it's going to skyrocket me into alignment with my perfect self? Or are you able to kind of go, okay, this one part of myself is not ideal and I don't enjoy this and I don't enjoy being this way, but I'm going to look after myself on the journey towards becoming the person that I ideally am? Because, plot twist, the ideal version of you probably shows yourself empathy, shows yourself compassion, even with change and with evolution. So I think that's your real kind of message here, is no drastic changes or drastic shortcuts or even like spiritual bypassing, and more so slow, methodical change from a place of loving yourself and caring about yourself and being kind to yourself throughout the journey. If you are a Virgo rising, or this eclipse is hitting your 12th house, so the 12th house is an area of kind of like your subconscious realm, your dreams. It's like a very ethereal, otherworldly place. It's often like a place of like intuition, psychic hits, and it's also like, which can be like a good thing or a bad thing. It can be how you're so like beautifully psychically connected to other worlds and such, but it can also be how you escape this world and like through things like addictions. So this can be like physical addictions, like to substances and such, but it can also be like daydreaming, escapism, like things like that. What is the message here for Virgo rising, or for those with this happening in the 12th house? Ooh. We've got strength. That's fun that we've got the card of Leo coming up for you. And this card is all about internal strength. It's all about having the willpower and the dedication to yourself to know that no matter what, that you're going to be okay and you're going to make it through. So I feel like for you, this is like eclipse season might be bringing in some, I would say more for 12th house, not always, but more so for 12th house. It can feel a little bit more like internal. It can feel a little bit more in the back of your mind. It can feel a little bit more subconscious. It can feel a little bit more just like feelings that crop up, or like gut instincts or internal knowings, or even like messages through dreams and stuff like that, kind of like psychic hits. I feel like that's where this solar eclipse in like your 12th house could be happening. So with the strength card coming up, that's a real reminder to stay really mentally strong and really spiritually strong as well. So I would say this is definitely a time for you to be like upping your mental health care and then your spiritual hygiene routines as well. So whatever this looks like for you, remembering to take your antidepressants, go and see your fucking therapist, do self-care things that you know are really incredibly good for your mind. For me, I fucking love, you know, like yoga, meditation, but also I just love sitting, colouring in. Actually, it helps to shut my brain off for a little while. Things that help to make you feel safe, things that help to make you feel secure. For like your spiritual hygiene, this could also be like doing some protective work with your aura. I have a fiery wall of protection video if you want to have a look at that as well. You don't need anything for it, you just need your breath and a few moments to just kind of sit with that. That's a really good way to kind of energetically protect yourself. You could do like spiritual cleansing, like cleansing showers, cleansing baths, things like that. Yeah, I'd say it's like a really good time to remain really mentally and spiritually strong and mentally and spiritually in control. And kind of also the message here might be any kind of thoughts and feelings that you have coming up during eclipse season, that before taking drastic action on them or taking them as absolute gospel truth, like say for instance you get like an intuitive like feeling like that this like really like drastic bad thing is going to happen, just for example, before going, well, I'm trusting my instincts, I'm going with it, that's absolutely right. Maybe wait and see what happens after the eclipse kind of blows over, because it might not be as bad as what you think it's going to be, or things around about this time might be more heightened. People are likely to feel a little bit more drained and a little bit more tired at this time. I've definitely been feeling super fucking exhausted, so you might not be thinking in your most mentally clear state right now. So your kind of invitation here is to like stay strong and stay kind of clear-headed and clear-minded until the eclipse is over, and then you can kind of reevaluate and see where you are. This is for my Libra rising. I have tried to say this like 5 times. This is for my Libra risings, or those with the Leo placement hitting their 11th house. So your 11th house is kind of like your bigger network of people, so it's like groups that you're a part of. So this is more like this can be like big scale groups, so it can be literally like the country that you're in, or it can be like groups such as like, I would say like a book club, or even like your work and stuff like that. Like your kind of wider network of people, even things online as well. It's like your wider community of people and how you're kind of perceived, and it's like humanitarian, how you're seen and perceived in the wider community, as well as like what your part to play in that is. And your card is the Page of Wands. For you this eclipse season, I am sensing that you could really be feeling the urge to move forward on a new creative endeavour. Maybe it's not something entirely new, maybe it's been something that's been kind of like brewing in your mind for a little while, or maybe it's like you're within an area of your life you want to like see how a different path unfolds in that area. So it could be something like maybe you post a lot on social media, and one video that you post goes viral and it opens up a pathway of opportunity for you to maybe like make a second stream of income through that. Or maybe in like your book club or something like that, there's a book that's suggested for you to read, and then you read this book and it really like sparks like an idea of passion for you. A concept in this book really like speaks to you, and it really like makes you feel like, whoa, this has like opened up like a pathway for me, something along those lines. What I will say is, I wouldn't say that the eclipse is the 100% best time to actually start something new, like something that's entirely brand new. I wouldn't be going on any random crazy ventures personally, but it is an opportunity to lean into any sparks of passion and sparks of creation that this eclipse season is bringing up for you, especially in the 11th house areas of your life. Again, with the eclipse, we are looking to release, but with that releasing is a new beginning. So it is also a new moon that we're having as well. So like new moons, you know that we love to like plant seeds in the new moon. This is like, I kind of think of this as like the weeding out of shit so that we can plant those seeds in. It's kind of like the releasing and the letting go of the old things that's going to give you that kind of spark of creativity. So maybe something comes in and you have to release something and you have to let go of something. And then that's where this new like spark of passion comes up. Not necessarily that you have to like pursue something entirely new right now, but you're kind of like clearing the way for that thing to come on through to you. With the Page of Wands coming up, this also is like your opportunity and reminder to really go with the flow here. Whatever comes up for you during this eclipse time, I would say try and look at it from the idea of, how can this be an exciting new adventure? Not like, oh fuck, this thing's like messed up or whatever, but where could this lead me? Think of the potential and the possibilities that this thing could be opening up. And I'm not going to lie, like sometimes when things are like wiped out of your life, or there's like sudden changes, even if it's like small inconveniences and stuff, you can go, how is this like possibly for my like better good? You just have to kind of go, okay, like I don't know everything, like what's happening in eclipse season is a fated event. I can't see how my fate is going to play out because I've not lived it yet. All I can do is do my best to co-create with the cosmos and trust that everything that is happening right now is happening for me, not to me. And when you do that, it kind of like opens things up to excitement a little bit as well. Like I was saying in the beginning, like at first, like when I was like, oh my god, like I'm meant to be in work and I have to like phone in and let them know that like I'm not coming in. Like that was just like immediate stress for me. And then I was like, okay, like actually I can't do anything about it. So let that, like getting rid of one thing, be the opportunity for something else to happen. And that's kind of how this video came about. This is for my Scorpio risings, or for those who's going to be experiencing this Leo solar eclipse in their 10th house. So your 10th house is the house of career, legacy, public image, reputation. And for you, we have the Knight of Swords. Okay, so for you in the areas of career, legacy, reputation, I'm sensing that this card is kind of coming up as more of like a, not a warning, but like a gentle reminder that although things around you might feel like they're coming in fast and they're coming in hard and they're coming in strong, and there's like a lot of like changes that are happening and things might feel like a little bit wild and a little bit crazy, you need to stay calm in the chaos and you need to stay level-headed and in control. I would say as well, especially with this coming up, I'm feeling like with this coming up with your like reputation kind of, with the reputation, I am thinking to myself here, what's coming through is to be really careful with the words that you speak, the things that you post online, the things that you say in the heat of the moment. I would say this time for you, if things are feeling like intense around you, the reason that I'm saying I think it's best for you to like stay calm and stay cool and stay collected is because the eclipse is just one moment in time, but the things that you say and the actions that you take could potentially have a prolonged impact. So while the world is in chaos, you stay nice and calm and you stay true to yourself. I know that's easier said than done, but I would say watch your tongue during this time. Watch what you say to people, watch how you speak to people, watch how your words are coming across, because once something is out there, you can't take it back. If there's any stressors that come up, and again, for everyone I've said this could be like on big scale, massive degree things, or it could be on smaller scale things. It could just be like one snippy little comment with someone, or it could be like a big, like massive fuck up at work or something like that. It's a sliding scale. It could be teeny tiny, or it could be massive, and for most of us it'll be somewhere in between. Yeah, I would say it's kind of like an invitation to, amidst change and things that are out of your control, to remember the one thing that you can always control is yourself. And if you do that, then you can't possibly go wrong. You can always control your actions. You can always control the things that you say. You can always control the energy that you put out. You can always control how you treat people and how you deal with situations. Even if you can't deal with the situations, you can't control everything, and you can't control the situations going on around you. You can always control yourself. So this is for our Sagittarius rising, or those with the Leo solar eclipse happening in their 9th house. This is also a message for me as well. God, I'm scared. So like I said in the beginning, the 9th house is like your house of travel, spirituality, higher education. It's also the house of like the god, mentors, teachers, all of that. And we have the Queen of Cups. I feel like there might be a real call here for you to really deepen your spirituality in some way. And it could be in a way that you don't necessarily expect. You might find that a spiritual experience comes about in a way that maybe you weren't expecting it to come about. I don't know why that's the message that's coming forward for me, but I'm sensing that there might be a profound experience maybe that happens, something that comes up for you round about this time, and maybe even if at the moment you don't realise the impact it has on you, it's actually going to be a big spiritual turning point for you. If this eclipse brings up for you any kind of crisis of faith or crisis of spirituality, or something that feels like uncomfy for you that comes up in the kind of spiritual elements of your life, this is your kind of invitation not to run from that, but to lean into it. Not lean into forcing yourself to be continuously uncomfortable, but to know that it's possibly happening for your deeper growth within yourself. And sometimes uncomfortable situations arise so that we become a much more emotionally and spiritually resistant person. And that's what I'm really sensing for you here. I'm also really feeling like there could be some kind of spiritual mentor out there in the way that you wouldn't expect them to be a spiritual mentor. And for some of you, this might even be like either like a deity or like a being that you feel really called to learn more about. I've gotten really into sirens this year. And honestly, like learning more about them and connecting more with their mythology and practicing siren-esque magic has been deeply like healing for me on so many levels, and connecting to the archetype of the siren. So there could be an element of this for you as well. There could be an element of like maybe there's been like a god or a deity or like a certain religion or something like that that you feel like kind of called to research a little bit deeper or just find out a little bit more about. And this could be a really divinely guided time for you to kind of lean into that. And again, as this is releasing too, especially with the Queen of Cups coming up, I would say if there is any kind of like emotional limitations that you have, like blocks that you feel like you're holding on to, stories that you're telling yourself about why you can't be like why you can kind of step into this Queen of Cups energy, this kind of knowing, intuitive, like deeply connected archetype, if there's anything there, it could also be your invitation to kind of journal on that and release all of that, because the whole kind of ninth house thing is that you want to like expand and you want to grow and you want to get bigger and you want to get better. So if there's anything that's keeping you feeling like stuck or small or anything like that, time to release. This is for my Capricorn risings or those with the Leo solar eclipse hitting their 8th house. So your 8th house is finances, but it's kind of like shared resources or finances that aren't like entirely your finances. So this could be inheritance of some kind, or like I would say even like loans. It's like about taxes as well, death and taxes. This house is also like a house of rebirth, things that you inherit. I would say like inheritance, like physical inheritance, like money or whatever, like you inherit from someone, but also it could be like things that you inherit from a past life, things that you inherit from generations, blah blah blah. Well, I did say death and taxes, didn't I? Fear not by seeing the death card. Honestly, I think during an eclipse season, the death card coming up could potentially be one of the most positive cards that you could see coming up, because for me, it shows that there is a real purging, a real letting go, a real releasing of everything that you no longer need. This could even be big scale stuff. It could be karmic debts that you're holding on to. It could be spiritual baggage from your past or even from another lifetime. It could be concepts and thoughts and ideas that are really holding you back. Or again, like I have said, it is a sliding scale. It could literally be something super small and super mundane in this area of your life. Like it literally could be something like you get a letter through being like, you are in debt and we are going to come and fucking break your door down and steal your TV, and then it's like, if you don't pay this back, and then you look at it and it's like 37 pence or something like that. So it doesn't always have to be like the most extreme, most dramatic version of things. It's like the eclipse is just kind of bringing up for you areas that it really wants attention in. It's kind of like, hey, look at me, and then let me go. So really with this card coming up, I am truly feeling that you're being so deeply called to release everything and anything that you feel is holding you back. This could be like old versions of yourself. Like I said, the 8th house is of course to do with like money and resources and all of that, but the inheritance aspect of it, the debts are not just monetary, it's debts that we have to pay in this lifetime. What have you kind of like paid your dues with? You're like, okay, like I feel like this is a lesson that I had to learn. I have learned the fucking lesson. I have paid my debt here. Now it is time to release and let go. Maybe you actually are ending your debt and you do pay like a loan or something like that off. All in all, for you, this eclipse season, if something comes up and it is asking to be released, let it go. This is for my Aquarius risings, or those with this Leo solar eclipse hitting their 7th house. So your 7th house is relationships, marriages, contracts, like close relationships, I would say, partnerships. And for you, we have the Page of Pentacles. I feel like stuff might be coming up for you right now in the areas of relationships and partnerships and stuff that might be a little bit of a slow burn, if you know what I mean. I feel that you might be on this new venture, and this venture might not even have made it into the kind of physical realm yet. It could be something that you're just pondering through this time. Maybe something will come up for you at the eclipse season and you start to think, am I maybe ready for something new right now? Is there something like a new venture that it could be like either we go on together, or maybe if a relationship's not meant to be, it falls away during this time. It's not always like if you're like married, I'm not like, well, you're going to get like a divorce or something like that. It could be literally like collectively together use like release something from like the past that you no longer need, and then you like go off together. And I feel like with this eclipse, that really is something that is kind of, you're getting the way cleared for you here, so that like this kind of new long-term stable venture can begin. But I think it's going to be something of a slow burn. So whatever you release and let go of during this time is planting a really, really solid foundation for you in the area of like relationships and partnerships. Again, doesn't always have to be romantic, it can be like business partnerships and stuff like that. But I'm just really feeling like in this time, it's like, it really is like that metaphor of like you're really like weeding everything out. You're like drawing out all the bad stuff, you're getting rid of it all right now. You're really purging it along with the eclipse. And that is really what is like the planting of the seeds for you, for what you're going to grow into. And I'm sensing it is going to be something that's going to be kind of more long term. It's going to feel a little bit more stable. It's going to feel a little bit more kind of rooted and grounded and certain. This is for my Pisces risings, or for those with this Leo solar eclipse happening in your 6th house. So the 6th house is kind of like your day-to-day well-being, your health, your routines, your kind of day-to-day life, the things that you get up and you do every morning. You know, you get up, you brush your teeth, you take your dogs out, all of this stuff. And for you, we have the Hierophant. So this could feel like a pretty big disruption in your day-to-day life. And again, when I say like pretty big, it might be literally nothing. It could even be like what happened to me today. It's like my day-to-day life has been changed, something in my routine has been went a bit skewy, you know. But I'm really feeling like with the Hierophant here coming up, that you're possibly being called to, at this time, step into something that feels a little bit more aligned and a little bit more connected. So it's quite easy for in life in general to look at the big scale things, the big moments of life, and kind of forget that these little mundane aspects of life are actually what makes up most of our living, you know? I always say it, but like the big things, like the births, the deaths, the weddings, the big massive things, that's like a really tiny portion of your life, and most of it is like the day-to-day routine. So that makes it incredibly important. And it also means that it's incredibly important to step into a routine that feels really emotionally and spiritually and physically fulfilling and joyful for you. There is things that we have to do every single day. I mean, I guess technically we don't like have to do anything, but you know, like there kind of is things that we have to do. Like, we have to get up, we have to have breakfast, we have to go to work, we have to walk the dogs, we have to have a shower, we have to all of these things. And you might be feeling really called to at this time to almost like in a way, elevate your routine and make it feel a little bit more important, like a little bit more, add like a kind of spiritual element to it. It might even be the idea of making everything feel like a ritual. So the Hierophant is like a deeply spiritual card and a deeply spiritual being. So he is the card of Taurus, who is also often about like the routines, the structure, the stability, the doing things the way that things have always been done, almost to the point of being perhaps like stuck in a rut or feeling quite old school. So there's kind of two ways that you can look at this. You can look at it as like you maybe have to like drop those things in some parts of your life. You have to drop the areas where you feel like you're really like rigid and you're really like stuck in your beliefs, or you can step into the energy of implementing a little bit more structure and a little bit more routine into your life. But I feel like you are being really called to at this moment to like ritualize your routine. So maybe when you're like making your dinner, instead of just being like, oh, I'm just like making this, you implement a little bit of kitchen magic. You like really think of the ingredients that you're using and why you're using them and put intention behind it. Instead of just going for a shower and like rushing through it, you think of it as like a luxurious moment for yourself. You play music, you light a candle, you make it feel like a ritual. Your walk to work, instead of just being like, oh, like it's raining and I like need to go to work and I like can't be bothered. Maybe you listen to a podcast that feels really inspiring, or you listen to music that feels really uplifting, or you set like an intention for your walk, like you think about your manifestations and stuff on your walk. It's bringing your day-to-day life and your day-to-day routine into the next level and dropping everything that doesn't align. So that is it. That is the end of your tarotscopes for this Leo solar eclipse. I really hope that you have enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for letting me guide you through this fated tarot reading, and until next time, bye.